Hey everybody, welcome back to the NC State Insider Podcast. I'm your host and lead beat writer for NC State Wolfpack on SI, Tucker Sennett. Back again for another episode here, a Sights and Sounds special after the Week 3 Thursday night win for the Pack over Wake Forest in Winston-Salem. I was there. Just another strong performance by this Wolfpack offense. Another second half shut or this was a shutout, but another really impressive performance from DJ Elliott's defense in the second half after a really wonky, wacky, wild start to this football game um, at Allegacy Stadium in Winston-Salem against a 2-0 Wake Forest team. Um, a weird game, and college football games are going to be weird on Thursday nights. That's just how they always go, it seems like, in those midweek games. So that was sort of the expectation. But in terms of just how things got going, couldn't have started much more badly for the Wolfpack. But before we dive into the game and what I saw during the game, I had a chance to go on the field before the game and check things out a little bit, watch some of the guys warm up, and a few things that stuck out to me were Bailey's poise continues to be really impressive. Just the way he they've talked about it so much, the way he carries himself. He looks mature despite being just a sophomore. His leadership really seems to be having an effect on this team. The other thing that was interesting because this was basically a standalone game on the college football schedule and an ESPN game on a Thursday night competing with the NFL. There were 19 NFL scouts at this game, including some higher level guys, not just regional scouts. Largely in part because this was the only game on. It was the only show in town, and I'm sure a lot of these guys geographically are on their way to other games in the area, whether they're going out to Tennessee for that Georgia Tennessee game or some of these other games in the ACC this weekend. But couldn't have been a better time for guys like Justin Jolie and Hollywood Smothers to put on a show because there were some serious talent evaluators from the next level in the building watching them do their thing, and they did. They really, those two in particular really shined. And while Bailey isn't eligible for the draft this year, um, he did a lot for his stock in the future, which is something to keep an eye on, of course, as we sort of discuss his draft prospects as this strong year moves on, and he does have another season of eligibility left. As for the game, and then the other guy I forgot about that they were almost certainly there for was Damon Claiborne for Wake Forest, who really was held in check by this Elliott defense. Um, and I think, that was a big part of the game plan in this game was the Wolfpack sold out to stop the run early, and I think they got caught off guard by Robbie Ashford, the Wake Forest quarterback's ability to throw the ball. It sort of caught them on their toes, and they they gave up a couple big plays early to the Demon Deacon offense. But the game started with that kickoff return for a touchdown, and you could just see the disappointment on that NC State sideline. And they were down 14 nothing in a hurry. Then you had that wild food truck fire, and from the press box, that nice NC State answer drive was just shrouded in smoke. So any play on the far side of the field was hard to see for us in the press box because that smoke was blowing in from the food truck on fire. If you were watching on TV, we didn't really know what was going on. So that was a weird situation that luckily got resolved pretty quickly. Um, the food truck fire drive ended with that Justin Jolie touchdown, and you could just, even though he's been nothing but a great teammate after games and between games, talking about the team, and his run blocking has been so much better than it was a year ago, and you could just tell that it feels good to get on the board, and he got on the board twice in this game with a pair of touchdowns, short ones. but just such a physical specimen. He had one catch that I had the radio on because they have no PA announcer at Wake Forest. So it's helpful to, get the yardage and stuff. And Jolie kind of boxed out like a power forward on this catch and came down with it. And it was really impressive stuff for the young tight end. Wake Forest showed out student section wise. They had a strong showing. Obviously, that Thursday night game, despite being one of the small, or I believe they are the smallest power conference program in the country, and that is a pretty tight stadium. But outside of their student section, this fan showing was dominated by NC State. A lot of people made the trip. Dave Doran was very appreciative of that after the game. He was in great spirits. Really disappointed in that targeting call against Sebastian Harsh late, which we've covered pretty extensively with our writing. There, we'll see if there's any appeal process there. Those rules are sometimes weird when it comes to conference games. So we'll see if they try to have the NC2A take a look at that before next week because Harsh will miss the first half of that Duke game, which is critical for this NC State defense, especially the way they've been starting. But really helpful for that NC State defense having that home crowd because when Wake Forest was getting loud, they were a little rattled and then they were able to just absolutely deflate that crowd with that second half performance, shutting out Wake Forest. Five straight three and outs forced, just dominant stuff from this defense. Great coverage. Yeah, they just got physical against the run as well, and Wake Forest really just had no answers. It was a brutal offensive second half for the Demon Deacons. Locker room after the game, we get a little peek in as we're in the makeshift press conference area, and the guys were really fired up for this one. Obviously, an in-state rival, the ACC opener, so you start 1-0 in the conference play, and there was just good vibes for the Wolfpack after this win in particular. Some of the returners remembered that really disappointing game last season in which Grayson McCall had that devastating injury and that ended his college football career. But that game also gave you CJ Bailey. That proved that this kid was going to be the real deal for the Wolfpack, and he's taken that opportunity and he's run with it. Look, he's continued to just be excellent through these first three games, three touchdowns last night. Just a pretty unbelievable start for the young gunslinger. Doran was really happy. I think he described it best. Winning is a lot better than losing. He used that Bull Durham quote. So he just felt good about the game. Obviously disappointed in the targeting call, but felt good about the defensive performance and outside of that opening kickoff return and then the big play, he was really happy with the performance. If you take those points away, Wake Forest only scored 10 points the rest of the game. So things were pretty subdued for the head coach. Happy with the win. Really, really pleased with that Isaiah Shirley big man touchdown. Shirley sort of, from what it looked like, might have gotten a little lucky on that play. He was late on a stunt and just right place, right time, and he made a play and ran it back for a touchdown. So guys were yelling, pick six as he was being interviewed in the post game press conference. Really, really cool stuff for the young man there. And he was Scott Van Pelt's one big thing of the night, literally the one big thing. He's a big man with a big man touchdown. So NC State 3-0. Those are your sights and sounds from Winston-Salem Thursday night. Big weekend of ACC football coming up. We'll have a better feel of who stands where in the conference, and I'll be back here with Daniel Rios talking about that over the course of the weekend. We'll give you some quality content there about the ACC and its overall performance ahead of a huge week 4 matchup for NC State against the Duke Blue Devils. Duke coming off that loss against Illinois last week. They have another game this week against, let me get it for you. They have Tulane in a Darien Mensa reunion match. Not an easy matchup. We'll see how they do tomorrow night in New Orleans on the road. So could be a disappointing 1-2 start for the Blue Devils this season. As always, thanks for tuning in to the NC State Insider Podcast. You can follow me on X for more content. My account is at Senate Tucker. You can also follow the website's account at Wolfpack on SI. You can find more of these NC State Insider Podcast episodes at the Sports Videos on SI YouTube channel. And of course, feel free to follow our Facebook page, the NC State Wolfpack on SI Facebook page, for all of our stories and content there. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.